Hi everyone, my name is Andrew Keddy, and in today's video I'm going to be taking you through the Seller Brokerage Agreement form. Now in this video I'm not going to go through every single clause, and in fact I do strongly recommend that before you sign that contract you make sure that you go through it clause by clause and understand what each one means. And if you're working with a good real estate agent, they shouldn't mind whatsoever answering any questions that you have about every single clause in that form. Now, one of the sections that it's really important that you read through very carefully as a seller is Section 3. Section 3 has to do with the seller's obligations. Now, there are a few obligations that I want to really emphasize. First, you have to disclose all material latent defects. And what that means is you have to disclose something that is not really easy to see or might be hidden from view, which a buyer would want to know about. It could be a potential safety issue. It could be a potential major red flag. Basically, if you're not sure if you should disclose, disclose. Another really important point in the seller's obligations section has to do with the referral of inquiries. If another agent or somebody calls you and says, hey, I saw your property online, I drove by it, it is your responsibility as the seller to refer those inquiries to your agent. You've hired your agent to work on your behalf to sell the property, and you have to send those inquiries through to your agent so that they can do their job. Another really important section for you to understand is Section 4. Section 4 deals with the brokerage's obligations. You want to make sure that you understand what your brokerage is going to be doing for you to help you sell your property. The next section in there has to do with HST. Now, it is your responsibility as the seller to determine if your property is subject to HST when you sell it. If it is, disclose that to your agent and that will be factored into the transaction. Now, even if the property transaction itself is exempt from HST, the fees that you pay your real estate agent and the brokerage for their services are subject to HST. So make sure you consider that when thinking about how much you're going to be paying for the services. Now, as you're going through all the clauses in the Seller Brokerage Agreement form, it's important that you read through 7.4. 7.4 has to do with what's called a holdover period. Now, holdover period basically means that if your contract expires and then you sell the property, the brokerage may still be entitled to the fees that you agreed to when you initially made the agreement. Section 9 is another section that sometimes can be a little bit confusing. It has to do with the change of representative capacity of the brokerage. So in certain situations, even though you may be the client of the brokerage, let's say another client comes along and wants to view your property. Well, unfortunately for the agent, they can't necessarily represent two clients because you can't act in two people's best interests at the same time. Now, there are things that can be done to make sure that everything is fair for everybody, but it's important that you understand how that section works because there are specific things that may apply if that happens. And so you may go from a client relationship to what's called a customer relationship, or there may be things such as the use of transaction brokerage, which could help facilitate the transaction. But it's important that you understand how you're being represented through all those different stages. Now, sometimes, despite an agent's best efforts, the seller decides that they want to terminate the agreement. Section 10 is where you're going to find all the information about how you terminate the agreement. So read through that in detail and make sure that you understand how that works to make sure that you don't violate any of your contractual obligations as a seller. Now, as you get to the end of that agreement, you're going to get to Section 16. 16 is where you sign the agreement and everything is finalized. Now, if at that point you don't understand anything, then you should really be going back to your agent, asking them for clarification, asking them about different scenarios where some of the clauses may come into play before you sign. So hopefully this video has been helpful to help you understand a little bit more about how the Seller Brokerage Agreement form works. Do you have questions? feel free to give me a call, 902-899-4106. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for great information about the local real estate market, as well as great information that are going to help you buy or sell your next property with more confidence. I look forward to working with you, and I'll see you soon.